Hello friends, it's Kelly and I'm back with another process video. As you see here, I will be working on a 2-page layout, and I hope I'm gonna try to just have this washi tape down just to help me keep it from moving around. We'll see if that lasts. I don't know if that's gonna work or not, but I'm gonna try it. So these are pictures that I took around Christmas, or right before Christmas, when we were decorating cookies for Santa. So I had lots of pictures from this event and wanted to get them all scrapped. So what I'm going to use is, I still have these two, I don't know what you would call this, I have these papers cut for the 444 series and had them divvied out into 2 parts. So these were my last 2 layouts for that series because I had done 1 and 2. And it's Janet at RTS, if I didn't say that. This is her baby that she created, and she just gives you measurements and for your paper and how to cut them, and then you use those papers on to create your layouts. So it's just kind of predetermined, pre-cut papers to create a unique layout in a quick way. So I will link Janet's channel down below. She's awesome. I'm sure you've heard of her. But if you haven't, by some odd chance, I will link her down below. But anyway, without further ado, these are the scraps that I had or no, not scraps, but the papers that I had cut for that series. And I thought, instead of doing 2 separate layouts, I will use these to do it's 2 layouts, but to do a double page layout. And so, because as I was looking at these, I have these papers that have the exact same cuts and dimension, that I would use those and then use this one. I think what I'm going to do is cut this one in half. I'm not sure. And maybe the same for this. So we will see. Oh, and I have this left. I think this, I'm not sure. This one might not get used, or it might. Who knows? I'm going to move it over to the side. And then I had this also. So I'm going to try and see what I can do with these. And I thought I would turn the camera on and take you along with me. So I'm going to turn this off and start scrapping, and I will just speed this up a little bit, so because this might take a while. All right. Okay, let's get started. So I did decide to go ahead and cut that Christmas tree paper in half, and I'm using the bottom 2 sheets as is, and this design will change because I've decided not to use that plaid paper. I just felt like it didn't go with the rest of it. I felt like it was unnecessary to this layout. And of course, the first thing I try to adhere to the page, I run out of adhesive tape. I just feel like I just left this in so you could see how I do it. This is just one of the not fun things about scrapbooking, is refilling those adhesive. And so what I've decided to do here is just create a band across the bottom with that teal kind of blue-green paper. And I'm also going to put a band across the top. So it's kind of basically framing my pictures that I have running across the page. Just kind of framing them in. And here's where I decide not to use that plaid paper. And I felt, and one good thing about having the papers taped at the top with the washi tape is it's easier to line things up. It keeps things from shifting around. So far the washi tape trick has worked for me. Towards the end, when I start adding embellishments, that's when it gets a little trickier because just naturally I want to tilt things at an angle to try and work on them, but it works out. And as you see, I'm just trying to line these photos up, which I'd already predetermined the order and the way I wanted them arranged. And it turns out to be a pretty quick layout, a pretty simple layout for me. Usually I put a whole lot more on a page than what I did on this, but I just didn't want to take away from the photos. I feel like this already has a lot going on with all the different colors and the cookies and all the people in the photo, so I didn't feel like I needed to make this a very complicated page or double page. And I did end up using that little thin strip of Christmas tree paper that I had, that one little scrap, and I just cut a little tiny slice off of each one of those, and I'm going to use it to put up there at the top. And I am pulling in some scraps. These scraps come from the 6x8 paper pad from the Merry and Bright collection from last year's Cocoa Vanilla Studios Christmas line, which coordinates perfectly with this year's Christmas line. And I'm just trimming those off, and I'm happy that I'm able to get some of my scraps used. And I just felt like this needed a bigger border to cover up all the white cardstock underneath it. So I just keep adding more pattern paper and more scraps until I fill up that white edge. And this is kind of the focal point photo. It's the biggest photo, anyway, that I have in this series of photos. And my embellishment are going to be very minimal, which I know, shock. It's a big shock. I just kept feeling like I need to add more. But anytime I would try to add more, I didn't like the way it looked. So I'm showing you the wood veneer that I'm finally getting to use from Shadney. I'll link her below. She has an Etsy store and she does process videos. And the wood veneer that I picked out from this little pack are little tiny Christmas trees and little tiny cookies that have a bite out of them. How perfect, right? So I needed some kind of base to put my embellishments and titles on. And see, I was looking at this. I really wanted to use, there's a word on there that says cookies, one that says yum, and I wanted to use it, but it just didn't go with the papers. I just felt like it just didn't go. And don't ask me why. That's the way my brain works. And just a different mood and feel, I guess. Thank you, Janet, from RTS for all the things and all the vocabulary words that I've now included in my. She just put a word to things that I could feel but not explain, I guess. So the mood and feel, that is totally Janet. That's her verbiage, but that is exactly what was wrong with those titles. I just didn't feel like they fit the mood and feel of this layout. So, I know that was a lot of words for for not a lot of explanation. So I've just decided to go with what was included in with this collection, this Cocoa Vanilla Studio collection. And I'm adding the title Very Merry on one side, and then I'm going to put Memories on the other side. And as you see, my base that I chose for my clusters and my title are doilies, which I just happened to see that as I was shifting through some of my embellishments, and I was like, yes, that's it, that's perfect. And I try not to rush through any of my layouts, but this was during the week and I wanted to make this a quick one because I had a lot of other things going on, but I wanted to scrap, so I made myself make quick decisions, and that is exactly what I did. I didn't fuss over things for long. I just stuck them down and went on, and I'm happy with the result. This is not as intricate as a lot of my layouts where the clusters are, I feel like I have to make them just right and have just the perfect embellishments. But I really enjoy how this turned out, and it helped me tell my story, the embellishments that I did use, and I'm going to call this one a win. And I like how it looks. And I did get quite a few of my embellishments used up, so I'm happy with this one. And that down there, it says, the little word strips say it's a very, what does it say? It's the most wonderful time of the year. And I'm going to add the journaling at a different time. I haven't added it yet, but I will eventually. And then I had these tassels from Fancy Pants Designs, and thought one would be perfect right there at the top of that tag. And I wanted to add a few more of these. I wanted to incorporate the stars that go with this font set. So I add a few stars as some of my finishing touches, and I put that "Oh What Fun" banner right there across the picture, almost on top of my head, but it's okay. And I'm gonna look at it a couple more minutes and see, am I happy with this? And some of the wood veneer makes it into my clusters. I'm only going to have two clusters, this one at the top and the other one that mirrors it on the bottom. And this layout is obviously we're decorating cookies here, but my daughter had bought this set from a cookie designer here, in a local lady, and it comes with everything you need, and the cookies are already made, so we didn't really bake. All we did was do the fun part, which is decorate. To us, none of us are big none of us love to cook in my family, so except my oldest daughter, she loves to cook, but she was unfortunately not able to make it to this event in this little get together, so, or she would have been fussing at us that we should have cooked or baked the cookies. So, but we had fun and the kids enjoyed it. I'm just showing you the finished result there. Thank you so much for watching.